Hello and welcome to Bolt Action by the Numbers, Part 3. In Part 1, I discussed some of the information on the nations, platoons, and order dice. Part 2, I discussed some of the unit types and distribution used there. In this third video, I'll dive a little deeper into some of the squad specifics and nation specifics. As always, all images are owned by Warlord Games. From an overall perspective, there were 78 inexperienced infantry. Those came in at an average of 10.8 men. This is no surprise. A lot of those Russian free units at 12 guys, a lot of Japanese at 15 men can bring that number up. The fact that it is lower than that means that some people are using 5, 6, 7 men to hold some of those backline objectives and act as order dice. There were only 42 regular infantry squads, and these came in at an average of 8 men. Typically, these will match at either 5 men for your 5-man transports or 8 men for your CWTs or transports like that. Maybe you've got 10 for your some of the larger trucks and things like that. There were 3 teams that had regular with flamers, and those were always 5 men and almost always matched up with a Bren carrier. There were 58 veteran teams individually that came out to 7.3 men, 29 veteran teams with flamethrowers coming in at 5.6 men. Again, your smaller size when you have an embedded flamethrower in order to fit a better transport capacity or keep your footprint low. Britain came in with 4th place overall, averaging just under 16th place. This was the best of the big 5 countries: Soviet Union, US, Japanese, and Germany. So definitely take that from what you will. Britain gets quite a few of the big toys and kind of the stronger units, as we'll see here. There were 7 inexperienced squads. These averaged 6.3 men. A lot of those were going to be the home guard guys sitting on those backline objectives. There were 5 regular squads coming in at 4.6 men. One of those is going to be your flamethrower team in the Australian list. And then 29 veteran squads, 7.3 men. No flamethrowers. The super surprising here because almost every other country is going to be running flamethrowers when they can. However, Britain tends to focus all those flamethrower points into turning their troops into Gurkhas. Lots and lots of Gurkhas. China had an average place of 2nd. Well, there was only one list, so this was the best country overall. Congratulations, China's strongest in bolt action. You heard it here. There was only one list, so it is rather skewed, but fun to say. They did take that free inexperienced squad at 14 men. There were 6 regular squads averaging 8.8 men, or almost 9. And if you want to know more about that, I think Bo and the guys from Sounds of Battle had a discussion about why to choose 9 men in those regular squads. And there were no veterans in that list either. France came in at 2nd best place overall, and averaging 10.5 place, which isn't surprising. A lot of people who are good at France say that France is one of the strongest, especially with their national rules. 1 inexperienced at 12 men, 7 regular squads at just over 10 men. 1 veteran cavalry was their only veteran choice there. Lots of focus into the armored fighting vehicles, those howitzers that they tend to be able to double up on. Germany. Sorry, German players, myself included, worst country. Average place of 35.6. This is last overall of any of the nations. Buff Germany. All right, 13 inexperienced squad at 7.2 men. Essentially lots of Osterman. 4 regular squads. Those came out with 7.3 men. One of them had motorcycles. Since the SS Cavalry can only be a veteran, you can only get some increased mobility by using motorcycles if you want it on a regular squad. There were 8 veteran squads at 6.4 men and 9 veteran squads with flamethrower at 5.2. Again, no surprise at the squad size here, and that's going to match up to your 5 capacity in your STKFC 250s. Japan came in at second to last, surprisingly, with an average place of just over 25th. They were 7th overall. There were 8 unique countries represented by the list that met the criteria from parts 1 and 2 of these video series. 31 inexperienced squads, averaging just under 14 men. Only 29 of those were bamboo spear fighters, though. So one of them did have inexperienced riflemen and used those. There were 2 regular squads with knee mortars, 5 regular squads at a full 10 men. Of note, those knee mortars, that's minimum strength, just to get those 2 mortars at a time. And there were 3 veteran squads averaging just over 10 men in those lists. Poland came out at 11th place overall, which is the 3rd best, just behind China and France. It looks like those people who are playing those minor nations are performing quite well against those big 5. Every single infantry taken in the Polish armies was cavalry with lances. No question, hands down. There were 2 regular squads, 1 7-man, 1 8-man, I think. Maybe it was 6 and 9. And 10 veteran squads averaging just over 6 men, or 6.6 more specifically. The Soviet Union came in at 5th place overall. Pretty decent standing there. 18th place average. There were 18 inexperienced squads at 11.2 men. Remember, there were 8 Soviet lists, so that means there were 10 purposefully chosen, not just the free unit. 5 regular squads at just under 8 men, 7 veteran squads at 8 men, and then 9 veterans with flamethrowers. Again, that's going to be your embedded flamethrower in the Pioneers, 5.7 men. I am pretty sure most of those had body armor. I should have probably added that stat. I apologize, but definitely all of those had transports for sure. And last but not least, we have the United States. Average place of 19th. They were 6th overall out of the 8. Lots of inexperienced squads for the United States. 7 inexperienced squads at just under 7 men each. 4 regular squads at 7 men. And here's where we see one of the few countries in that tournament format who can take regular squads with flamethrowers. Those were always 5 men, always had a transport. Pretty effective unit there. And here's the big one. No veteran squads. Not a single one that didn't have a flamethrower. There were 11 veteran squads with a flamethrower. So by far, U.S. doesn't care about burning everything down. They are going to be the most burninating country on this list. And those squads, to no surprise, 5.8 men. I think most of those were actually 5, but there were a couple specific squads that brought the size up quite a bit. As always, thank you everyone for listening to these videos. I enjoy running the numbers on some of these. If there's anything specific you would like me to cover in the future, give me a holler, and I hope you have a wonderful day.